those two equations I just had you put in the graphing calculator, they are called a system of equations. When we have two equations in two variables, our variables are x and y. We have two equations in two variables. That's called a system of equations. A system of equations means that those equations have to work together. In other words, whatever we decide is a solution for one of the equations also has to be a solution for the other. In other words, we have to find the solution that works for both of them. So if I ask you to solve an equation like 4x equals 8, what is x equal to? 4x equals 8. If I just ask you to solve that simple equation, 4x equals 8.
-4. Or
X equals, what is x equal to? Yeah, we divide both sides by 4 and x is equal to 2, isn't it? Okay, so we divide both sides by 4, x equals 2. That's just a simple equation in one variable, isn't it? Okay? But once we have two equations like we have here down below, y equals 3x plus 1, and notice they got this little fancy bracket off to the side of it. Once you see that fancy bracket, that means those guys gotta work together. Whatever you solve for x, you also have to solve for y, and that is going to become a point on the graph. So to estimate the solution to a system of equations using a graph, we're going to determine the point of intersection. Let's fill that in also. We're going to determine the point of intersection. Now, if your graphing calculator turns out while I'm busy typing away, don't worry about it. It's an automatic shut-off thing. We can just turn it back on and it won't lose anything, okay? So, for the rest of this year, we're going to be working on solving a system of linear equations by graphing only. We start out next fall, this fall when you come back to me in August, late August, we start out the year learning, we'll review this, and then we'll start learning how can we solve it without graphing, how can we solve it algebraically, and that actually gets a little trickier. So we're going to solve them by graphing, and when we solve them by graphing, we are looking for the point of intersection, and that point has an x value and a y value. Okay? So what should happen is when you press the graph key on your calculator, it should graph two lines.
What key?
Graph key. If it doesn't show two lines, then just press zoom 6 and it will give you a better graph. So everybody, I want you to see the graph. And remember, the solution is the point of intersection. Would you estimate right now what you think the point of intersection is for this system of equations? Anybody want to estimate? No?
1, 5.
Okay, you think it looks like it could be one ordered pair 1, 5. So x equals 1 and y equals 5, right? Okay, Aurora?
I think it's 1, 4.
You think it's 1, 4. Okay. Okay, so now I want you to do a second on. I want you to turn that off. Just put that aside for a little bit. We're actually going to graph these and let's see if we can get a better picture ourselves. Okay?
Let me turn them off.
So just second command and then the on key. Second, on, turns it off. Okay. So we're going to be solving systems of equations today by graphing them. Well, good news. Both of the equations they gave us are in what form? Slope-intercept form. Yes, we do not have to do that first step, which is get them in the slope-intercept form. So to graph the first one, y equals 3x plus 1, identify the slope and the y-intercept. Go ahead and do that in your papers right now. Identify the slope and the y-intercept of the first equation. And then just take time to go ahead and graph that one right away. 3 points at least. If the graph will hold 3, you've got to have a minimum of 3 points for the line. And I will get you some rulers to use as your straight edge. Draw that line. Do not move on to the other one until you have this one. This is like when we were doing our parallel and perpendicular. I said, get one line finished before you do the other. After you have got that one graphed, then you can move on to the other equation that's in our system, and you can graph it. Told you this graphing's never going away. Okay, we get a little bit better picture now, don't we? Okay, so we call it an estimated solution, you guys, because you could tell, like from the graph, it was hard to tell what the actual solution was, wasn't it? So we call it an estimated solution until we actually check it out. So what do you, from our graph, what is the estimated solution? Ordered pair what? 1, 4. Okay, so ordered pair 1, 4, which happened to be one of the estimates we came up with, and then the other one was 1, 5, wasn't it? Okay, so we'll check our estimated solution. Now, you have to do this on the homework, and you have to do it carefully because you want to make sure that you have the right solution. So here's what you do. You write down each equation that was in the system. They each get their own check problem. They each get their own check problem. So we substitute in the x value and the y value both into the equation, and so we no longer have the variable there. They should get replaced, and we simplify it down. So we say, you know what? I get something equal to something. It better be true. It better be a true statement. So what are we going to put in for y? What are we going to put in for y?
4.
4. We think y is 4. And what are we going to put in for x? 1. So we get 4 equals 3 times 1? 3. And you got to show all these steps, guys. Don't be trying to, tell me, oh, I did it in my head. And then when I open your paper, I say, how does that add up to that? Something went wrong in your head, sorry. 4 equals, what's 3 plus 1? 4. We are not solving. We're substituting in, and we're seeing, does it make it true? Is 4 equals 4 true? That's true. So it checks out in that one. But it's not enough just to do one of them, because that tells us that that point is on that line. That's what that tells us. But this equation is not independent of the other one. It is working together with it. So we have to make sure that point is also on the other line, because if it is, then that is the point that they are sharing. So we're going to put 4 in for y in the other one. We're going to put 1 in for x. That negative sign in front of the x is not part of the x. Then we say 4 equals. We can read negative sign like this, the opposite of. What's the opposite of 1? Negative 1. We'll bring our 4 down again. What is negative 1 plus 5? 4. And I like to say this. Why? Because we want it to be, or because it really is? Because it really is, isn't it? Okay, so it checks out in that one. It has to check out in both of them, or you don't have the right order. You don't have the right order pair, the right solution. So we now say, you know what? We're feeling pretty good about our. We checked it, so we're going to say the solution is. It's no longer estimated. The solution is order pair 1, 4. So on your graph. What do you think we could say, looking at it, go ahead, you can turn your calculators back on and check something out again. Look at the graph. What do you think? Is it the only order pair that satisfies the 2 equations together, or do you think there's another 1 or 2 or 3 or so on there that satisfies both equations together? In other words, it would be a point that they share in common, other than ordered pair 1, 4. What do you think? Look at your graph. Do you think there are any other points they share in common? Yeah? Okay, name it. Give it to me then. What is it? Okay, let's go to the table. Second graph. Press the second key and then the graph key. Second second key and then the graph key. You should have 3 columns in there, do you?
No.
There should be a column called x, there should be a column called y sub 1, and there should be a column called y sub 2. Everybody got that? Okay, I want you to go find where x is equal to 1. You might have to cursor up and down until you get to the spot where you can find x is 1. And when x is 1, what's in the next 2 columns in that same row? 4. Okay, you go in that table. Go ahead, scroll through that table for a little while. See if you could ever find another time that the y's match. Okay, I'm going to change your table a little bit. If your table's going by halves, I can make it a little bit friendlier for you. Okay. So anybody found anything yet? Have you found another spot where they share the same y? Anybody?
There is going to be another one.
You don't think there's ever going to be another one?
No.
Me either. But we're on the batteries, we're never going to find it. We're never going to find another x value that those 2 equations share the same y value. So we're going to fill in the blank right here and say, it is the only ordered pair that satisfies both equations together. Only ordered pair that satisfies both of them together. If you go to your y equals screen and clear out those 2 equations, let's clean up this calculator for the next person who uses it. Y equals, clean it up for them. Second on turns it off. This is all we're doing today. You're ready to go back home. Anybody have any questions?
Any clear?
Clear. Get down with the clear. Okay, go ahead and get those returned.